Today we recognize a somber National Day of observance for COVID-19, a virus that has caused a crisis of historic proportions here in Canada and around the world. More than 22,000 Canadians have died from COVID-19. Hundreds of thousands have fallen ill, and millions have lost jobs or have had their work severely cut back. Des Canadiens sont partis sans voir leur famille ou leurs proches pendant des mois. Plusieurs parents se sont démêlés pour aider les enfants à apprendre à la maison. Les Canadiens doivent également faire face à une série d'effets secondaires liés à la pandémie. Plusieurs travailleurs s'inquiètent pour la santé mentale de leurs collègues. Des milliers d'opérations contre le cancer ont été retardées. Les taux d'abus de drogue et d'alcool ont aussi augmenté. La violence conjugale et la pandémie de l'ombre de la COVID-19. In British Columbia, there have been 60% more deaths from the opioid epidemic than from COVID-19. Increasing rates of domestic violence have been the shadow pandemic this past year. Youth mental health, presenting as anxiety or eating disorders, are alarmingly on the rise. The true cost of this pandemic on the lives and livelihoods of Canadians of all walks of life has been staggering. And yet, after a year, Canadians still aren't sure when we can expect life to get back to normal again. We all want that. When we can go back to work regularly, see our classmates in school like we used to. When everyone can expect their vaccinations. Les conservateurs veulent que le gouvernement réussisse. Tout est lié au déploiement des vaccins. Notre nation et notre relance économique en dépendent directement. Nous devons tout mettre en œuvre pour que les Canadiens retournent au travail dans tous les secteurs et dans toutes les régions du pays. Les Canadiens ont besoin que le gouvernement agisse, notamment pour arrêter la propagation des nouveaux variants. Our frontline healthcare workers are exhausted. Nurses, PSWs, physicians, and caregivers have put it all on the line for us this last year, and Canadians appreciate your efforts. Rebecca and I saw their hard work and dedication firsthand when our own family had our experience with COVID-19. We want to thank the dozens of healthcare workers at the Brewer Park Assessment Center for working with us. Merci aussi à José Gauthier, notre infirmière publique. Thank you, José. Our frontline and essential workers deserve our thanks and praise. They also deserve our efforts to ensure that we can provide them with more support and certainty in the future. And in the present, they deserve to know when they can expect their lives, which have been turned upside down perhaps more than any others, when those lives will return to normal. Small businesses that have been hanging on by a thread also deserve to know when Main Street can finally be able to breathe a sigh of collective relief. Les Canadiens ne savent toujours pas quand ils pourront recevoir leur première dose de vaccin. Pendant ce temps, nos voisins du Sud vont relancer leur économie car plus de 300 millions d'Américains vont être vaccinés d'ici mai. We have worked together to help Canadians in this crisis. And as we've wanted to see more effective programs, we've still got the money and support out the door and worked on fixes after. Like many Canadians, we're frustrated by the slower pace of vaccines than elsewhere, but we want the government to succeed for the health, well-being of Canadians, so that we can get our lives back back to normal so that we can address the unemployment, the inequality, and the strain caused by the crisis. We must also recommit as Canadians to ensure that our country is never again unprepared. We must learn the lessons, build capacity, and ensure a swifter and more effective response in the future. Aujourd'hui, alors que nous observons les effets de la COVID-19 sur le Canada, il est important de travailler ensemble pour améliorer le plan de vaccination et la relance économique. But today, we pause, give thanks, remember, take a collective breath, and then redouble our efforts to beat COVID and get life back to normal. Let's gather up our true patriot love to ensure that Canada conquers COVID and emerges united and more stronger than ever before. Merci beaucoup. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.